We got a couple of big updates here on Chicago Bears. Now are the arch rival Green Bay Packers set to lose a key player this offseason, plus Adam Schefter. Interesting update on Trey Smith. Is he going to get franchise tagged? Is he not? We'll dive into that coming up here on today's show. My name is Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody who's tuning in here to Bears Now by Chat Sports. Let's dive into Jaire Alexander and the Packers. Are they heading for a divorce? Report out of ESPN's Rob Demovsky is that it is likely that he has played his last down in a Packers uniform. If you remember, throughout last season, there was kind of weird energy. He made some weird comments throughout the season as well. Here's what Demovsky had to say in his reporting today. He said there are strong indications that Alexander's time with the Packers will end without him playing another down. Multiple team sources have privately expressed their frustration with Alexander's inability to stay healthy and or play through injuries. And I knew he had been banged up in recent years. I guess I didn't realize how banged up. Other than 2022 when he missed just one game, he has not even played half a season in 3 of the last 4 years. Missed 10 games these last 2 years, missed 13 games back in 2021. So he's dealt with numerous injuries throughout the last several years, really since he's gotten paid by Green Bay. Now, speaking of money, what are the cap implications for Green Bay? Well, either way, they're taking on notable dead money. It's just a matter of if it's a lot this year or if it's spread out over the next couple of years. If they cut him pre-June 1st, they'd save $6.8 million, but they would eat $18.1 in dead cap money, which is a big cap hit for a player not on your team. If they post June 1st, cut him, it's $17 million in savings, $7.9 million in dead money this year, but the remainder of the dead money they would owe would be on future year or years. This is good news for the Bears because Alexander's a good player, even though he's been unavailable a lot of the time. And if they do decide to move on from him, not only are they losing a good player, their best corner when healthy, they are having to take on a notable dead cap penalty for doing just that. Doesn't mean it's going to cripple Green Bay, but every little bit helps. And if you look at Green Bay's cornerback room in general, they may have to kind of retinker this whole thing. Eric Stokes is a free agent. Alexander's likely getting cut. Keyshawn Nixon's a nickel, but that's all he is. Now, they did find that Valentine guy who played pretty well last year in Alexander's absence, so he'll probably be a starter, but they're probably going to have to add at least 2 new corners and at minimum 1 new starter. I don't think Stokes is going to be back either, so Green Bay may have to invest some real resources into that position this offseason, and they still need to add pieces offensively. Josh Jacobs recently was saying that the Packers need a true number 1 receiver. Then some of his teammates like Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed pushed back on that. So maybe the vibe's a little off after the Packers season kind of crash and burn. Shout out to the Bears for basically sending them into the offseason in Week 18. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And I think it's a theme of the entire NFC North. While all 4 teams have things to like, all 4 teams have question marks as well. So it's going to be an interesting few months with free agency 3 weeks away and the draft just a little bit after that. All right, you guys know the motto. Get the FGBs going in the comments. I better see hundreds of FGB comments here on today's show. So go ahead and light up the chat. Speaking of which, we got some FGB t-shirts available. If you want to represent, get your shirt today at chatsports.com/FGB. Link to purchase will be in the comments and description of this video. Represent FGB gang here on Chat Sports, Chicago Bears Now specifically, and get yourself a shirt. Okay, let's go from one notable player to another, one that could become a Chicago Bear. That would be, of course, Trey Smith, who's the Bears' top free agent target for a variety of reasons. Adam Schefter did list Trey Smith as a potential franchise tag candidate along with T. Higgins and a couple other guys. He expects it's going to be a quiet franchise tag market this year, but Smith is someone that could get tagged. Now, someone pushed back and basically said, I don't think a franchise tag of $25 million is very likely. A transition tag seems more likely. We'll explain the difference here in a minute. And Schefter did reply to that tweet and said, agreed. Hard to imagine the Chiefs franchise tag Trey Smith with the exclusive or non-exclusive tag. A transition tag is more palatable and plausible because it's a little bit less money. Now you look at the difference in costs here. Not a huge difference, but when you're the Chiefs and you got big contracts, almost $3 million can make a notable difference as well. He also could be a little more tradable with that $22.75 million number to a team that would negotiate a new contract. So I would imagine that is the tag that they use. Now, here is the definition between the two. There's the exclusive, the non-exclusive, and the transition tag. The exclusive tag and the non-exclusive are virtually the same. Exclusive just means he can't talk to other teams. They're not going to do that one. So an agreement that ties the free agent to be to his team for a period of 1 year. However, he and his agent can negotiate contract terms with other teams across the NFL. The original team can either match the best offer, so if another team offers him a deal he accepts, Chiefs could match, that a player receives if any team signs the player to an offer sheet, or choose to decline it and receive 2 first-round picks as compensation for their loss. Like, remember when Lamar Jackson back in the day, the Ravens could have just let him go if a team offered him and taken the 2 firsts. Not that they would have done that because he's worth more than just 2 first-round picks. Trey Smith is not worth 2 first-round picks. So no NFL team is going to do that. So if they do the non-exclusive tag, they're basically just doing it to buy themselves time to work out a new deal because they want to keep him. That is that one. Transition tag, which is a little bit less money in terms of a cap hold. The transition tag is slightly cheaper as the value is locked in as the average salary of the top 10 players at the position compared to the top 5 for the non-exclusive tag. Also, if a player leaves a team after signing the transition tag, the club does not receive compensation for his services. So if they sign an offer sheet elsewhere and the Chiefs were not to match, they would just lose him for nothing. They don't get anything in return. But what they could do is try to transition tag him and then trade him to another team. I think this tag is more likely if they are going to place one under Trey Smith, because then it gives them multiple options. They could try to tag and trade him. They could still buy themselves time to get a new deal. They could see what other teams are willing to offer and play it out. Now, remember, any team that tags a player, if that goes into free agency, that money can't be spent, right? Like the Chiefs, who we'll get into their cap situation in a minute, would not have access to that $22 million to spend on other free agents. So you're kind of threading a needle here if you're Kansas City. So from a Bears standpoint, I still think it's fair to wonder, like, will the Chiefs play that game? Will they risk Smith being on the tag going into free agency at that big of a cap hold? They could. We'll explain how they could do that here in just a little bit. So coming up next, can the Chiefs afford to keep Trey Smith? We'll take a look at their financial outlook and obviously how it relates to the Bears in terms of their ability to sign Trey Smith and whether or not he's going to hit the open market. Before we get to that, hit that subscribe button. We cover all major Bears storylines, latest news, rumors, trade buzz, draft, free agency 20 days away from the negotiation period opening up. I cannot wait. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. We got you guys covered. Okay, so you look at the Chiefs' outlook. Right now, they basically have no money. They are cap compliant, so if the new league year started today, they would be under the projected cap number at just under $1 million. They do have several key free agents, which we'll get to in a second. An easy way for them to free up cap space, they'll almost certainly restructure Patrick Mahomes. They could also restructure Chris Jones to free up money. Travis Kelce's potential retirement would free up some money as well, so that's something to keep an eye on with Kansas City. But they've got a lot of free agents, not just Trey Smith, Justin Reed, Nick Bolton. I know Mahomes wants to keep Marquise Brown. He's a player I'm interested too, by the way. DeAndre Hopkins, Charles Omenihu, Tershawn Wharton, Derek Nottie. These are all basically starters. Now, you could say one of those receivers isn't a true starter. Omenihu's more of a rotation along with Tershawn Wharton. But like Justin Reed, Nick Bolton, key cornerstone players on that defense. Like, are they going to choose Trey Smith over multiple other starters? Because with how much money he's set to make, especially if it's a franchise tag, that could very well be the case. So here's the reality. If the Chiefs want to keep Trey Smith, they're going to find a way. They could either tag him and restructure Mahomes to make sure he can fit under that tag. They can work out a long-term deal if Smith agrees to. Like, it's kind of in the Chiefs' hands along with Smith's, like if he's willing to negotiate to their terms. But even if not, again, they could just franchise tag him. So the Bears don't hold the power here until free agency starts and he is not under a franchise tag or under a new deal. So we're still kind of in this waiting game. The tag window opens today, but the deadline's March 4th to franchise tag a player. Schefter says that it's unlikely that any potential franchise tag would happen until the day before, the day of. It'll be kind of a last-minute thing. So we'll see if he hits the open market. If he does, I expect the Bears and several teams, frankly, to push hard. But Chicago will be right there in the mix. You can bank on that. I do want to mention this. I would not trade a top 3-round pick for Trey Smith. Like, if the Chiefs tag him with the intention of trading him, I'd offer a day 3 pick, but I'm not getting bent over by Kansas City if I'm Ryan Poles. Like last year, remember they did this with L'Jarius Sneed, and they squeezed a third out of Tennessee, and he wasn't even that good in Tennessee. It's like if they're willing to trade him to you, I just don't let them dictate the terms. Hey, I'll give you a 5th-round pick for him. If not, hey, best of luck. We'll go in a different direction. Like, I really want Trey Smith, but I don't want to pay a 2nd, even a 3rd-round pick, and then turn around and make him the highest-paid guard in the league. It's one thing to trade premium capital for a Myles Garrett, a Micah Parsons, a true superstar Hall of Fame caliber player, and then pay him. Trey Smith is a very good player. He's not a, hey, I'm going to give you the 39th pick and then pay him $110 million. Like, I'll pay him the $110 million, but I'm not giving up the premium pick to then also pay him. So we'll see if the Chiefs try to go that route, the L'Jarius Sneed thing again. But as of now, that would be my stance. I would not trade a day 1 or day 2 pick and then pay him top dollar. Okay, what say you? Predict it. Do you think the Chiefs end up putting Trey Smith under one of the franchise tags? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I think it's 50-50. They got to figure out who their priority free agents are in Kansas City. I think it's possible, especially given how the offensive line struggled in the Super Bowl. Letting Smith walk would be a tough thing for them. Okay, Bears fans, getting closer and closer to the start of NFL free agency. We will continue to cover every major storyline. Hopefully Trey Smith hits the open market and we could throw some money at him. My name is Harrison Graham. Bear down.